We are here today to talk about 22nd Street South, which was the most vibrant thoroughfare in St. Petersburg's African-American neighborhood during the segregation era. 22nd Street South was to the black community what Central Avenue was to the white community in St. Petersburg. We'll also talk to a lesser degree about 9th Avenue South here, which kind of formed the heart of the community at the crossroads here. 9th Avenue South was more a thoroughfare of civic clubs and churches and community endeavors, whereas 22nd Street was commercial, retail, and entertainment. 22nd Street began basically as kind of a dirt trail way out in the country when the city of St. Pete annexed this area in the early 19-teens. The street actually began to grow about, let's say, during the early 1920s, and it was by no means the first African-American neighborhood. The first African-American neighborhood was a community called Peppertown. It was just a little bit east of Dr. M.L. King Jr. Street, let's say between 3rd and 4th Avenue South. The guys who built the Orange Belt Railway, which put St. Petersburg on the map in 1888. These guys laid the rails and built the beds, and when they punched the railroad through to St. Pete, some of them decided they wanted to stay here. So they formed that little settlement that became eventually known as Peppertown. Now, it depends on who you talk to. Where did that name come from? The white community has always said, well, it was because it's named after the table seasoning, pepper. The black people tended to say it was because everybody grew pepper plants in that neighborhood. Neighborhood number 2 kind of formed around the mid-1890s around the church. It was called Methodist Town. It was between 1st and 5th Avenues North, roughly between M.L. King and, let's say, 12th Street. And then a little bit later than that, we're going back south of Central here. We'll say between 1st and 5th Avenue South, again west of Dr. Martin Luther King Street and, let's say, 16th Street. It was called Cooper's Quarters at first, and it later became known as the gas plant area. It was named after 2 big cylinders that held the city's natural gas supply back in the day. 22nd Street grew because essentially St. Pete was a resort town, and by the 1920s things were booming. The city fathers decided that they didn't want people of color living close to downtown unless they were working for the railroads, working in hotels and so forth. They began to encourage people to move west to 22nd Street. And quite a few actually did. There were jobs out here too for people. You had soft water laundry there on 5th Avenue South and 22nd Street. You had Farmers Concrete, which built a lot of the hex blocks that you see downtown. Okay. And Littoral Lumber Company, which was actually an ancestor of former city councilwoman Virginia Luttrell. So, 1920s, 22nd Street began to grow, the community began to thrive. Right down the street here, and you can't quite see it from here, Jordan Elementary was built in 1925. It was built to relieve what was the only other black school in town at the time. It was called Davis Academy, which was in that gas plant area that we called. When Jordan Elementary opened, 1,300 students on the first day, 1925. Okay, we're back on the 22nd Street tour here. My name is Jon Wilson, and I am with TampaBay Reporter, one of the newest news vehicles in the Tampa Bay area. We were talking about Jordan Elementary. It was named for a guy named Elder Jordan. Elder was not his title. That was his actual first name. He was born in 1850. He was born a slave. He Strobel's, and she was a full-blooded Cherokee woman. Rosewood, the number, was the site of an infamous massacre in 1923. But Mr. Jordan and Mary Strobel's married before that. They came to St. Pete in about 1906. Mr. Jordan started out as a produce salesman. He invested in other businesses. He made a lot of money. Eventually came out here. The school is named for him because he became a trustee of African American schools in Pinellas County. He is also the guy for whom Jordan Park was named, right behind us here. That was a public housing complex, perhaps the first public housing complex in Florida, built in 2 stages between 1939 and 1941. It was a prestige address for people then. There was a lot of very, very substandard housing all over the city then. People wanted to move in to Jordan Park as a permanent address for people of color until, let's say, the late 70s, mid 80s, and it began to deteriorate. Then in 1996, a federal grant helped rehabilitate it. And it was a Hope 6 grant, and so Jordan Park is still a public housing complex. Some fewer numbers of people live here now than did originally. This building right behind us is the Carter G. Woodson Museum of African American History. It was once the administration opened in 2006. It's a going concern. There are community events that take place here very, very regularly.